This is $20. In the older times, a few years ago, you could have bought lunch or dinner with this $20. But at the present time, not really. And then everyone will say this is inflation. But what if I told you this is not actually inflation? You have been told that inflation is about pricings going higher. What if it's not actually the prices? What if someone is controlling that money? What if someone is controlling everything? What if someone is controlling everything behind the screen? You may think inflation is just a number, but in the financial system, inflation decides who wins and who loses. So today we'll be telling about everything that you know about inflation. It could be that the real picture is way bigger than what we actually know about inflation. So stick around in this video, you'll be able to see with your eyes everything. So, the textbook definition of inflation. Inflation is prices going higher and decrease of purchasing power. That's what the inflation is, which means prices of the commodities or everything will go higher. Prices going higher is not the real thing. The real question is, what is causing this heat of inflation to go higher? What is causing these things to go higher? The deep imbalances in money markets, global trading, stock markets, and all other commodities will result in inflation. Does it mean that too much money is chasing too few goods? Of course, but inflation is also a relation between the power and value in the financial system. So let's see about money flow paradox. So here's something wild. When central banks create new money, the very first thing they do is they pump this money into big corporations, big bank and government. These three organizations will spend this money before the prices of the commodities goes higher. Until this money reaches to you, that is the consumer, in the form of wages, rents, groceries or everything, you will be paying a lot more. The prices are already higher up than. This idea is known as Cantillon effect. Inflation does not hit everyone equally. Never. The very first people who receive the new money, the big corporations, the big banks, government, big corporations, will be benefited with this money because of the inflation. On the other hand, the middle class and working class people will be punished because of that inflation, which means the wealthy people will become wealthier because of the value of their assets will go higher and higher due to inflation. But the middle class and working class people will not have it that way. So we can say that inflation is not just about prices going higher or lower, but who gets the money first when the new money is being pumped into the system. It's not just economics, it's politics. So two of the most common types of inflation is demand pull inflation and cost push inflation. These are the two types of inflation. So demand pull inflation is where the demand of a commodity or anything will outpace the supply. Means too many people will be buying too few goods, and this usually happens in a booming economy. In cost push inflation, the cost of production, the cost of producing goods rises. That's why we'll be facing issues in the raw material, wages, processing, supply chain, everything. So here's the kicker. In real life, it's rarely one or the other. They usually overlap and feed on each other. If people expect the prices to go higher, they already act like it has already gone higher. Higher wages, higher commodity prices, everything. And this starts a feedback loop. So inflation is partly psychological. It is also what people think will happen, how the prices will react and how the prices will go higher or lower. So let's look at a different type of inflation which very rarely people are talking about. That is structural inflation. This comes from long-term changes, globalization, demographics, everything. This usually includes the aging population, which means more retirees and fewer workers or working class people. And in the economy, this increases the labor cost. Or you can say reversing globalization, which means producing and creating the goods in our own country rather than importing. It is good politically, but it is expensive and it adds upon the inflation we are already suffering from. You must have experienced during the pandemic. The global supply chain froze and everything was chaotic. All goods and commodities were scarce. The prices shot up exponentially. That wasn't greed or too much money. It was a fragility of the global system. So inflation may not be the economic stuff. Also, considering what we have been discussing till now, it could have been how vulnerable the world is. Like what we discussed initially, inflation will rearrange hierarchies, winners and losers. Winners are the people who own assets, bigger assets, banks, corporations, governments, stocks, real estates, commodities, the things which rise with time. And of course, inflation is there, so that adds the benefit. And the losers who have fixed income, fixed wages, They can't really do much, and so they are the ones who are paying for everything. That segregates winners and losers in this financial system. Inflation is like a gravity to only the people who are on the losing side, while the winner side will always get an advantage with the inflation going higher, while the people who are losing will be stripped off of everything. So now this is the personal side, inflation versus you. What you can do to protect yourself in this situation. If you are middle or working class, how you can protect yourself? First, understand this. If your salary hikes 5% but the inflation is 6%, you're still on the losing side of the 1%. That's the first thing. Secondly, inflation definitely hides in groceries, bills, everything. But it affects heavily on your housing, healthcare, your education. These are very essential areas in our lives. Third, diversify your assets or diversify your saving. You can have assets like stocks, real estate, or any kind of inflation protected securities that will preserve its value over time. And invest in your skills. The better skills you develop in this economy, in the booming economy, in the developing stages where the world is heading to a different place, you'll be able to stay relevant. Adaptability is the best way to deal with inflation. So we have seen that inflation is psychological, but it is one way to assert control over a group of people. If the money loses value slowly, you will be encouraged to buy more, to purchase more. That will prevent you to save money, invest that money. It will encourage you to use credit cards and go into debt. That is why the governments always prefer a little bit of inflation, so that the old debt will be gone out of the system and this growth will continue gradually. But if it goes too much, the system will break. If it's too little, then the system will freeze. So either way, it is bad for the system, but if you maintain a good range, it benefits most of the people. So the next time someone asks you what is inflation, so the very first things will come into your mind is it power? Is it prices going higher? Is it structural? Is it supply? Is it demand? Is it policies? Is it the structure of the system itself? Inflation is the pulse of the entire economy. It has to do very less with your wallet, believe it or not. And once you start seeing it that way, you'll be able to understand and how money, power, and all these things work together. So if this video helped you to have a better understanding of what inflation is and how these things come together and make up a whole system, which is not just about money, it's psychological, it's about who is control of the power and money, and so many different aspects that we have been discussing in this video. Do hit the like button. It really is a motivation for me to make more of these videos for you. And stay tuned on this channel. Subscribe this channel for more in-depth of videos which I'll be posting in the future. And do let me know in the comments section, what do you think about inflation in your own views? Until next time, thank you for watching.